the job. They knew what had to be done, and they did it. And if you ask them, they'll say, that's my job. That's what I do. It's just part of being a law enforcement officer. They would never consider themselves a hero or something like a Superman, but they're Supermen. Supermen and women.
The chief tells me that Lieutenant Augustine has seen an outpouring of support from the community and other law enforcement officers. Live in Fayetteville, Megan Key, 4029 News.
Thanks, Megan. He also told us volunteers are helping Lieutenant Augustine's family in so many ways, with food, even yard work, even taking care of the laundry for them. Well, ticket sales got off to a brisk start for the upcoming Bentonville Film Festival just hours after they became available today. Ticket packages for the festival became available online at noon today, and BFF organizers say sales are going strong right now. Just packages for the festival are on sale for the big event that gets underway May 3rd. Individual tickets will go on sale April 4th. You can click smarter on 4029tv.com for the link to the new BFF website to buy your tickets. Well, tonight a local company is having trouble getting money out to hundreds of their workers. 4029's Paige Preusse is live tonight in Springdale, where one company says it's an issue with the new payroll system. Right, Paige?
That's exactly right, Craig, and it has a lot of people upset tonight. In fact, employees we talked to here at the Arkansas Support Network say they're really upset because they depend on those paychecks. Now, the company works with people with disabilities, and it says that its payroll system crashed, so they've been handing out the wrong amounts on their paychecks. And of course, as I mentioned, a lot of people upset about that because it's less than the amount that they say they worked for.
I'm a single mom. I work 75 hours a week. I'm getting paid for less than 40 of those.
Tori Tartaglia says she's worked here at Arkansas Support Network for the last several months, and the last paycheck she got from them is actually costing her.
I have rent. People have rent due at the first of every month. People have bills that they have to pay.
The company told us they're reimbursing workers who have cutoff fees or late fees to pay. The company says it switched over to a new paycheck computer system about 5 weeks ago, which has caused problems ever since, including paying their employees the wrong amount.
Here is tons of employees who can't get their check corrected again, and I can't live off of this nor support myself or anything off of this, and no one wants to help, and I don't know what to do.
We spoke to the CEO of the Arkansas Support Network. They say they made, quote, a critical error, and admits they should have used the old system to keep paying people until they ironed out the glitches in the new system. The CEO said, quote, if I were on the other end of the payroll situation, I'd be just as angry, and I'm in charge and I take full responsibility. The company also says that it's working to get those people the correct amount on those paychecks. They're cutting paper paychecks whenever they get the chance. Live tonight, Paige Preusse, 4029 News.
Okay, Paige, 75 hours a week. Wow. The company says it's working all night to pay those employees the correct amount as soon as possible. We don't have an exact time to give you at this moment, though. Tonight, the lost suspect in the Paris terror attacks is finally caught in Brussels. This is video of when police officers in Belgium raided an apartment building earlier today. The 26-year-old suspect terrorist was captured alive after this week's police found his fingerprints in Brussels. He's been on the run since the attack last November 13th. 130 people, you might remember, were killed in Paris when gunmen attacked several targets there in Paris, France.
What we've seen now is this lucky break in the investigation when they went into this safe house on Tuesday afternoon, not expecting it to be a terrorist den and not expecting it to have Saleh Abdeslam, one of the most wanted men in the world.
This isn't the first time the suspect has been in custody. He was actually questioned and then released following the November attacks. But this was before authorities knew he was involved, and surveillance video showed him and another man at a gas station near the Belgian border the day after those attacks. University of Arkansas medical experts are taking steps to make sure students are aware of the risk of spring break travel to areas where the Zika virus is a concern. Students at the U of A will be on spring break next week. The Pat Walker Health Center partners with the State Department of Health and the CDC to screen patients and educate students on the Zika virus, which is primarily spread by mosquitoes. Students will be greeted when they return to campus by doctors with information about the virus.
We'll have 2 physicians on campus tabling in conjunction with a blood donation, talking about the different risks with students coming back from those areas. We want to make sure that we have support on the answer questions in case they have concerns.
The health center is reaching students through social media to make them aware of the services they have there for you as you come back from your spring break. Now, as Donald Trump steamrolls his way towards the Republican nomination, Conservative Party leaders are hatching a plan to put the brakes on his momentum. Among the concerns that Trump, as nominee, could hurt the down-ballot candidates and tilt power in the Senate back to the Democrats. 4029 Sally Kidd is in Washington now with a look at how all of this is playing out.
Analysts say Donald Trump's divisive rhetoric could alienate certain voters and motivate them to turn out and vote against not just Trump, but other Republicans on the ballot. Political observers say Republican incumbents in swing states and districts face a tougher than usual election year, and they blame it on the Trump factor.
Really, he's going to hurt Republicans. It's a matter of how much he hurts Republicans.
How big of an albatross this will be for the Republicans, it's hard to know.
But the concern is building, analysts say, about Donald Trump as GOP nominee. Already, Democrats are running attack ads linking Trump to vulnerable Senate incumbents.
Ayotte joined Trump and party bosses in refusing to consider any nominee.
And now the Koch brothers have decided to focus millions of dollars on down-ballot races to protect conservative incumbents, like Senator Rob Portman of Ohio.
When Mr. Strickland raised taxes $1.5 billion.
The people who are most nervous about this are going to be Republicans running for re-elections in states with lots of Latinos in particular.
But there are some places where Trump could help Republicans, analysts say, like the Rust Belt cities in the Midwest.
So in a race like Pennsylvania, where there's a very competitive Senate race, he could help them there, he could help them in Ohio, but that's still very theoretical.
We have to bring our party together.
Trump has said he's bringing new voters into the Republican Party, including Democrats and independents who now support him, but it's unclear if that will influence the rest of their votes. Some conservative donors have begun redirecting their money to super PACs that target House and Senate seats. Reporting from Washington, I'm Sally Kidd.
A Republican candidate needs 1,237 delegates to clinch the nomination. Trump currently is leading with 678 delegates. Ted Cruz is in second place with 423 delegates. Kasich far behind with 143. Tonight, an American admits he made a mistake when he joined ISIS. New at 5, the push to bring him back to the U.S. out of the Kurds' hands. A wounded warrior dealing with the devastation of his home in Louisiana got help with the cleanup. Next, the outpouring of support from fellow veterans.
Live, local, late breaking. You're watching 4029 News at 5 with Kelly Johnson, Daniel Armbruster, and Chief Meteorologist Darby Bybee.
We are following breaking news in the ongoing fight against Zika. The FDA has approved a new emergency test which can be used by doctors to detect the Zika virus. The results are immediate. The CDC will begin distributing the test during the next 2 weeks to qualified laboratories. The test will not be available in U.S. hospitals or other primary care settings at this time. An American captured by Kurdish forces earlier this week speaking out on TV, recounting his time that he spent under ISIS control. Tonight, U.S. officials are working to get the young American back to the States. ABC's Ray Ramundi is in New York with the details. New at 5.
He said he made a huge mistake.
I wasn't thinking straight. And on the way there, I regretted.
Mohammed Jamal Qais speaking out for the first time to Kurdish television in an exclusive interview.
Where are you from? United States.
The 26-year-old American picked up Monday by Kurdish forces in northern Iraq.
When we began to learn about the religion, there was a imam who taught us like the Sharia and the religion.
Quace was discovered with his Virginia driver's license. It's where he was born, raised, and attended college. The young American giving extraordinary detail of the last month he spent in ISIS-controlled Mosul.
We got to another house. A lot of foreigners were there. All the foreigners had to give their IDs and passports.
Quace says his journey to Mosul began in December. He traveled to Europe and then headed to Turkey, where he says he met an Iraqi girl before arriving in Iraq in January.
Don't take a picture!
Outside Quace's Virginia home earlier this week, his father aggressively telling reporters his son had nothing to do with ISIS. A high school friend recounting how he lived a normal life.
He wasn't violent, he wasn't religious. We did the same things, we got in the same type of trouble.
Quace says living in Mosul was absolutely horrific, and those who control the Iraqi city don't represent Islam. Ray Mundy, ABC News, New York.
The United Nations estimated that around 30,000 so-called foreign fighters from 100 countries are actively involved now with the Islamic State group, Al-Qaeda, or other extremist groups. Well, the young daughters of an award-winning concert pianist killed tonight, his estranged wife faces a mental health evaluation. Police in Texas say the pianist arrived at his wife's home to pick up their two daughters, but found the girls slain in their beds. The estranged wife is being treated with multiple stab wounds, but officers are not searching for a suspect. The Cuban capital getting ready for next week. President Obama will be visiting there. This is Havana's El Capitolio. Completed in 1929, a year after the only other U.S. presidential visit to Cuba, El Capitolio is a symbol of the island's boom years when the price of sugar was sky high. No expense was spared. Long halls of marble, bronze elevators, even higher than Washington's cupola. President Obama is set to visit Cuba at the beginning of next week. Well, today in Louisiana, as the water recedes, many families are cleaning up after the damage, and this includes an injured Marine and his family. Travers Mackel with our sister station WDSU tells us about the special effort to help a wounded warrior.
Matt Cole is a war hero.
Try to keep a path right here.
A recipient of the Purple Heart. He was paralyzed back in 2005 after a mortar round struck him in the back while on his second tour in Iraq.
I rode that as a kid. You did? Yeah.
Cole retired to Covington with his wife and 3 kids, and last week he watched as their dream home flooded.
Sure enough, Friday evening the water kept rising and rising, to the point we said, well, you know, we're going to flood now.
Cole finally got back in on Sunday. His home took on 2 feet of water. So he sent some pictures to other retired military friends.
Calls are coming in from the group that we're associated with called Wounded War Heroes.
It's an organization based in St. Tammany Parish that covers the state. Wounded War Heroes was set up to take injured combat veterans on hunting and fishing trips, but has grown into so much more. On this day, these veterans turned into Cole's cleanup crew.
We come to survey the damage, and here comes the cavalry.
From boxing up clothes and personal belongings to drying floors and tearing out wet sheetrock, these veterans did it all without asking for anything in return.
Without hesitation, they organized, mobilized like a military unit. I mean, that just shows the type of people that they are. Now, what it means to us is the world. I mean, I'm disabled. I can't do a whole lot. You know, there's things I can do. And my wife, and we got 3 kids. It means the world.
Retired Navy veteran Lucky Rogers from Lafitte participated.
I guess in life, if you can give back a little bit what you got, is a great deal. And especially with a guy like Matt. I mean, Matt's just a wonderful guy.
And